Hey, I'm Adam. Uh-oh. Here comes the dogster. Here comes the dogster. I want to shoot this one more and then I'll get you your food, okay? Oh, gee, my baby. I love you so much. Oh, I love you, baby. I love you, baby. What do you want? You want my math stuff? Is that what you want? You want to do some algebra together? You want food? You probably want food. Can you give me like 5 minutes? Give me like, hey, don't eat my iPad. Okay. I love this baby. I love this baby. I love this girl. Oh, Maisie. That was just this thing, sweet girl. That was a pen falling on the ground. It was a pen falling on the ground. Okay? Alright. Well, hey there. I'm Adam Reich with WonderfulTutor.com. Today we're going to clear up a confusion that seems to happen all the time. And that is, what is the difference between cross canceling on the one hand and cross multiplying on the other? So let's start this out by just doing a basic multiplication problem with two fractions. So let's say we've got 2/3 and we're multiplying that times x over 4. And by the way, notice that this is not an equation, right? If it were an equation, it would have an equal sign. So we're not trying to balance two sides of this thing here, right? We're just straight up simplifying what they're giving us. So how do we do that with a basic multiplication problem? Very simply, we just multiply straight across, right? So what is 2 times x? It's 2x. And if we put that over what 3 times 4 is, which is 12, we're really getting there. Next we need to reduce. What's the biggest number that goes into both 2 and 12? That's going to be 2. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 12 6 times. Now we're pretty much done. 1 times x, which is just x, over 6. And we're done. And honestly, that is a great way of solving this problem. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. But there is a slightly faster way. There goes the dog. But there is a slightly faster way of solving this problem, and it is using cross canceling. All right, so to show you how it works, we're just going to rewrite these two fractions. 2/3, and again, we're going to multiply times x over 4. But this time, instead of just straight away multiplying through the whole problem, we're going to look diagonally to see, are there any pairs of numbers diagonally where some smaller number can go into both of them. All right, so we can look at the 3 and the x, and obviously there's no number that goes into both 3 and x. But if we look diagonally at the 2 and the 4, we can see that there is a 2 that goes into both 2 and 4. So right away we can say, well, 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 4 2 times, and now we can multiply straight across, just like we did in the last problem. 1 times x is x, and 3 times 2 is 6. And we're done. Except that this time, we did it in only one step instead of in the last time when we did it in 2 steps, right? Okay, so you might be thinking, well, 1 step, 2 steps, not that big of a difference. I might as well just do it the long way and whatever, right? But there are really some cases where cross-canceling makes sense. So for example, if we're looking at some really big numbers, we're gonna wish that we had cross-canceled instead of multiplying the whole thing out, right? So for example, what if we have like 3 over 7 times 7 over 8 times 8 over 11 times 11 over 13. Okay, so we could just multiply all this stuff out and go, well, 3 times 7 times 8 times 11. That'll be our numerator here, right? What would that be? We'd have 3 times 7 is 21 times 8 times 11, which is 88. And then we can multiply. It sounds exhausting. I mean, I don't want to do all that multiplication. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. But what am I going to do? Well, first thing I'm going to do is erase all this garbage, which is just a nightmare of work, right? But what we're going to do instead is what we were talking about, which is cross-canceling. So we can see that 3 and that 8 right here is not going to be cancelable, right? But the 7 and the 7 are. What's the biggest number that goes into both? Well, 7. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 7 one time. Canceled. It's like they're gone. History. Goodbye. We could do the same thing with the 8s. 8 is the biggest number that goes into both. So 8 goes into 8 once. 8 goes into 8 once. We can do the same thing with the 11s. 11 goes into 11 once. 11 goes into 11 once. And if we do all that work, well, now it's just, 3 times 1 times 1 times 1. That's just 3 over 1 times 1 times 1 times 13. That's just 13. And 3 over 13. We're done. The end. Instead of multiplying out all those crazy, crazy numbers. Thank the Lord for cross-canceling. Let's keep moving on. Because a lot of people get cross-canceling confused with cross-multiplying. Cross-canceling, again, is like that simple problem we did at the beginning. 2/3 times x over 4. We go, well, 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. We multiply straight across. 1 times x is x. And 3 times 2 is 6. That's cross-canceling. But over here, we're now going to do cross-multiplying. And what's strange about this is that you think, oh, we're doing cross-multiplying. I just saw a multiplication problem in the last problem. Shouldn't that be where I do cross-multiplying? And that's where the biggest confusion happens. If you see a multiplication sign, you are not allowed to do cross-multiplying. Now, I know that's really strange, but it's true. When you see actual multiplication going on, that's when you can do cross-canceling. With cross-multiplying, there actually has to be an equal sign present. So I'm going to write those two fractions down again, those exact same two fractions. But this time, instead of putting a multiplication sign in there, I'm going to put an equal sign. And now, weirdly enough, is when we're allowed to use cross-multiplying. All right, so this is going to multiply, which is going to get us 3x, right? One thing a lot of people forget to do is to bring that equal sign down. If you start with an equation, you must continue with an equation, right? So we've got 3x equal to, we're going to do the other cross-multiplying, equal to 8. Next thing we're going to do, divide both sides by 3, right? Isolate the x, and x is equal to 8 over 3, and that is our final answer. All right, that's the difference between cross-canceling and cross-multiplying. I really hope that we cleared something up for you today. This comes up all the time in algebra. I see people making mistakes with this on the SATs and the ACTs, so clearing this up is just going to take you leaps and bounds to the next level. All right? I'm Adam Reich with WonderfulTutor.com. I will see you in the next episode. So that just means you're just going to keep on...